Hello.
Hey, I'm glad he never cusses at us or anything the way Craigbot did. But
But
anyway, with
when he'd drink, he'd just start, going off
oh,
us.
I know I got yelled at so many times. It really offended me. And
Slurring his words.
oh yeah, like Craigbot, it made me mad. But anyway, we may offend you in our podcast here that we do. We hope that we teach you a little something and entertain you along the way. But if you are easily offended, about various different topics, then you may want to pause now because y'all know how Jim is. Gets on my nerves all the time.
Well, this week, guys, we're going to be covering the Orcam and how that can and potentially will interact with tabletop role-playing games in the future. And Richard's going to tell us all about the Knights Wrestling Federation. I'm Jim from Knights of the Braille, and with me is Richard.
Yeah, I'm also from Knights of the Braille. Jim didn't bother to tell y'all that. He thinks I'm a redheaded stepchild.
I like to take all the credit. That's why I
Okay.
distance myself. People
I
know
hand it
me
back to
as the
you.
Knights of the Braille guy, Richard, all right?
I
So
know. And I am happy with that.
I'm not. I get all the abuse. But how are you doing, Richard?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. I could complain, but you've already told me you don't care, and I know nobody else in the
Yeah,
listening universe cares. So, um,
absolutely.
so it is my lie.
Well, how is the Knights Wrestling Federation going, Richard? Tell us a bit about it. What it is, how you're running it, and what your thoughts are so far.
Well, we have had our first show. That we act as though we're recording it and going on YouTube Live with it. A unknown benefactor has provided the arena, built it up, provided a brand new ring, video screen, and all of this. And um, the first episode actually made a profit of around $1,300. So that's a good thing. But what it is, it's a series of matches, no more than 6 matches per card. And what I'm doing, like behind the scenes, is taking the matches after I write them out and put them to audio. I have downloaded a couple programs that will turn text into MP3 or WAV, but I prefer MP3. And it is kind of sharp, a little bit sharper than the sound of Jaws, but I have put it onto an ambient background of an indie wrestling show to kind of give you that vibe of people being body slammed and yelling and fans. I run it off of a combination of the Squared Circle and Worldwide Wrestling, and I think Jim wanted me to talk about that because he knows I have to really concentrate whenever I say Worldwide Wrestling because I'm a
One more
Southerner. I
time.
will get.
One more time, Richard.
What about Ben? Worldwide Wrestling. But it is a combination of both because I do like them both, but there are things about both of them that really doesn't fit with a play-by-post. Yeah, I get worldwide wrestling out, and then I go play-by-post, and I like bite my tongue. It doesn't really fit with the whole play-by-post thing, which is what I wanted to do with this. And so I'm combining both of them, and how we do it is I create the different kind of like channels, or yeah, channels in the Discord under the KWF category. Only KWF talent has access to the links, and they will roll for initiative. Then, depending on who wins initiative, they go until they lose initiative or until they botch a move. In which case, the other person gains initiative, and it will go until they botch a move, in which they roll initiative again. We've tried a couple different things here because I wanted to see which worked best for the whole play-by-post, and the back and forth seems to be what everybody prefers,
Hmm.
as well as some of them will roll in chat, some of them will roll outside of the chat. And like I've said, that's fine with me until somebody starts complaining about it. Because we're going by the honor rule, but we also know there's no honor among thieves, right? And whenever I write out the matches, I use the results in the Discord to determine the winner. But I will also add moves in writing the wrestling matches to make for a longer and more compelling storyline match. To get your interest into it. And I recorded 2 different types of matches for Discordia #1, which you can find on your local YouTube channel at no. But what I did is I did some actual recording, like announcing moves and trying to be like Jim Ross, but I was more like Bubba J or something like that you never heard of. So I'm going to see which one of those people prefer, whether it's like me actually calling the match or if they prefer just a straight up text to speech software conversion. But I have also made like entrances, and you all would not believe the number of Google searches I've done trying to find text to MP3s and videos and audio quality so that I can make entrances. And Jim, they've actually even got me contemplating buying Gold Wave because it seems to be a little bit better than what Audacity can do. And that's thanks to the Hunted, who's offered to help me do the whole matches and everything. So I got to looking into Gold Wave, and I can get a license for like $20 a year. So,
I might have to look that up. I've not heard of
yeah,
Goldway.
it's extremely accessible. Not that Audacity is not, but there's several things about both of them that I like, and several things about both of them that I don't. But like I said, the whole thing with the KWF Discordia, it is quote unquote aired on YouTube. There is world building involved with this, so there's concessions sold. There's a number of 500 tickets at max capacity for the Knights Arena. And what I do for that is I roll a D100 and multiply it times 5. So there's a possibility that one episode may only have 5 fans in attendance, which will really suck.
That'd be awesome, like a backwater wrestling, match. That'd be really cool, man. Would you ever?
I have been to one because I love indie wrestling, where the crowd there was 7 of us.
Yeah, man. I told you before. I've been to one in England, in Luton Town, a wrestling match in England. I'm sure you can imagine how many fans showed up.
Oh, see, I would love it. Because I don't know if you know this or not, but there is a different type of style for British wrestling where they do it in rounds.
Oh, really?
Yes. It's basically, I think it's called like catch as catch can, where they do like a 2 or 3 minute round, take a break, or however long they want the round to be, and then go back at it. It's really interesting, but then again, I'm a nerd for wrestling and a mark, so I know lots of stuff about wrestling that's never going to be on Final Jeopardy, so I'm never going to win the big money.
Oh, could you imagine if you were on Jeopardy and they were like, "Yeah, category wrestling," you'd be like, "Excuse me."
Yeah. Then I'd go to the answer and I'd say, "Oh, well, that's Vince McMahon." That's wrong. No, it's not. You didn't answer it in the form of a question. Mother,
Who doesn't care about the well-being of their wrestlers? Is that the question?
That is the answer. But like I said, there's concessions, there's merchandise, there's leveling up. It's basically your typical tabletop role-playing game, and I'm just modifying it to be like a TV show, which I'm having a lot of fun with. Unfortunately, the first one's not going to be the best episode because I've had some health issues this past week and some technology difficulties as well. So, they will get better, I promise you. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. We don't have a world champion yet. We are going to have a Discord champion, which the belt will be defended every week. But it's building up to it.
That's really cool, man. It sounds like the tabletop game Blood Bowl where you have merchandise and sponsors and stuff. And that could be cool because then it contributes to you getting access to better trainers and more moves and stuff. But in terms of the commentary, would you consider having other folks on to help you do it? Do you think that would contribute, or do you think it's too difficult to organize that?
What I'm trying to figure out is how to play the audio file in the Discord so that we can record audio at the same time while we're hearing the show. But yeah, I would love to have on guest announcers and things like that. I've even asked Jesse. He's going to be on like maybe the next episode with me because we can play off each other really good. So I think we'd be like a good heel and face commentary team. But yeah, I would love to have like guest announcers and things like that. I think that would really go into the whole ambient kind of part of it, like you do like in real wrestling. As I say, real wrestling, everybody knows it.
It's hard, man. Even if it's stage, it's hard on the body. But if anyone wants to get involved, that'd be a great opportunity to practice role playing as a commentator. Yes. Should they just message you, Richard, or chime in on Discord?
Join. Let me know. Send me an email at DaleJuniorFan83@gmail.com. That's DaleJuniorFan83@gmail.com. The link to my email will be in the show description, I'm sure. As I make Jim write that down.
God damn it.
Yeah, and look me up on Facebook, on Twitter. Send me a message out here on Discord if you're interested in being a guest announcer. And also, Jim, if you would let me say this, if anyone wants to record commercials or anything like that to go into the show to add to it, you can advertise your game, you can make up a product, or you can make up, you can do a real product that you have created or something along those lines. I would love to have them, because I want to make this as quote unquote realistic as humanly possible, which is why I do the text to audio stuff as though it is audio description like you get from Netflix, HBO Max, and other things like that. So that's my plan, that's my goal, and just send me a message and let me know, and I'll be glad to have you.
Sounds like a fantastic opportunity for a community-driven project.
I think so. There is no pay involved, so unless Jim wants to,
fuck it, I'm not.
I mean, I'm doing all of this for free, so I'll pay y'all out of what I get paid.
Yeah, Richard and I are stupid. We do stuff for free, but you shouldn't be. You should demand money for your time.
They can demand all they want to, Jim. There's this bird emoji that I can send them. But seriously though, we joke around a lot. But if anyone wants to record a commercial or be a guest announcer, or you are interested in joining the KWF, please send me a message, and I'd be glad to have you.
That is awesome, man. Lots of information there about the KWF. It's all going to be in the show description, and I will post it in our Discord chat with all the info as well when it airs.
Oh, yeah, brother.
Yeah, brother. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Orcam. I'm going to actually explain what the device is and how it could help. I'm going to try to keep it brief, keep the podcast short so you're not dragged on for too long. But for anyone that's not familiar, the Orcam is a head-worn electronic device which has OCR, which is optical character recognition, which all of us blind folks are very familiar with. It is a device that can read stuff for you, similar to softwares like Seeing AI and Vision, many other apps. Even if you use a software Kurzweil, it has OCR built into it. There are devices as well that do it. There's Clear Reader Plus, Sarah CE, and several CCTVs for low vision folks that use it. The Orcam is very good because there are two main functions on it, which are pretty sweet. One is that you can talk to it. So you double tap the side of this device that straps to a pair of glasses, and then you tell it what you want it to do. So you literally double tap on it, Richard, and then say, what's in front of me? And it will say there are two chairs 6 feet away from you, which is awesome.
Really?
Yeah, it costs $5,500, but
there we go.
But yeah, it comes in two flavors. There's like the Orcam My Eye 2 now, which straps to a pair of glasses and is pretty in depth in stuff that you can do with it. Always growing. It's from a company in Israel. Fantastic. Then there's the Orcam Read or Orcam Reader, which is a handheld one which has less functions and more so just reads, and it's more for people with print disabilities like dyslexia and stuff like that. So the Orcam My Eye 2 is a sort of thing that you or I would get a lot of benefit out of, but you'd have to justify the price tag with the functions on it. But we are more interested in how the hell is that going to help me with a tabletop role-playing game, Jim, you British punk? Well, it will help you because it can read stuff for you. And more specifically, you can point to things and have it read for you as well. And does that help with dice rolling? At the moment, no. But the OCR built into this stuff, it says optical character recognition, but it's starting to recognize all sorts of stuff in your environments. It can recognize faces, you can record people. Obviously, from seeing AI and Orcam, we know it can scan barcodes. It can identify what an object is, how far away it is. Seeing AI can even identify a landscape, a room, what's in front of you immediately, and the Orcam's catching up with that. So how does that translate into tabletop games and tabletop role-playing games? Well, it will eventually be able to identify objects that are in front of you on a smaller scale and how far they are, and allow you to point and identify distances in that way. So it will help with the physical board of a game and understanding distances and feeling where a model is, feeling another one, and then having it tell you the distance. It's still a tactile element to it, but a little bit of assistance with judging the distances. Yeah, could it detect a grid in the future? I mean, potentially. The beauty of something like the Orcam is that the company behind it in Israel can actually change it to identify specific objects as is. So there's no reason it couldn't do that and be more refined at a later date by producing a software on a computer that you can plug it into and then changing it based on what you need. So the Orcam at the moment, can it work with tabletop role-playing games? Yeah, it can. It can read for you. And it can help in that aspect. It can talk back to you. Eventually, it'll be able to hook up to looking at dice and recognizing them. But for now, it's not quite there. But I see a lot of interest in the Orcam specifically and a lot of talk around it in the media. And so I wanted to go over it as someone that's used it and is pretty familiar with it to let people know where it's at now, which is not quite good enough for what you want it to do, but to also talk about where it could potentially go in the future. And with the podcast, I will talk more and more about accessible technology going forward and how it can interact with stuff. Next week, we're going to have Blind Temple on, Temple Smith, who is and also a visually impaired tabletop role-playing gamer. He's been playing for a long time, longer than Richard and I have been around, but when we were a sparkle, a twinkle in our father's eyes. We're looking forward to that. A week after, we're going to be back. I'm starting a play-by-post game myself, and maybe Richard and I can talk about the fun and the challenges of play-by-post in that episode. Richard, do you have anything you want to close off with?
I do want to recommend this to anyone. There's a box set on audible.com called The Fate of Wizardom. Wizardom. It reminds me a lot of a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. You can get the trilogy or the box set. There's 3 books, like 29 hours for 1 credit. I've mentioned it before. Highly, highly recommend it again. I've had to pace myself so that I didn't read through them all at one sitting. But that's really about it for the audiobook part of it. And I have several accessible programs that we'll go over in the upcoming weeks and all.
Richard, I'm currently reading the Dresden Files finally.
There Finally, and you're loving them, aren't you?
Yeah, they're fantastic, man. I like the main character. Just I think it's really easy to relate with someone who's moody and sarcastic for some reason.
And goofy, and yep, I love Harry Dresden.
Yeah,
Which one
really
are you
enjoyed it.
on? Stormfront, or
I
have you?
believe so. I'm still on the very first one.
Yeah, I think that is Stormfront. You're going to absolutely love him. You know,
Yeah,
he's a lot better than Harry Potter.
oh, for sure. I've only read, in terms of like detective noir books, I've only read the last Policeman series, which I did enjoy. It's not for everyone. Basically, the world is ending because a meteor is heading towards it. So people have just given up.
Right.
And he's still on a case. And it's a cool series. But this one is very well written, and you get that feeling, especially from the audiobook, you get that feeling of it being like a detective noir type story.
hmm I'm trying to remember the guy's name that reads them, but I can't off the top of my head. But Jim Butcher is fantastic. You know,
Yeah.
highly recommend them to anybody. And be like Jim and wait like 6 or 7 years and finally read them. You know,
Finally get round to it, get abused by everyone in our Discord server for not reading it.
exactly like finally. Be like the Rock.
Idiot.
Yeah. But they're really good books, and like I said, recommend both of those, no problem. I know we hadn't done an audio thing in a while, but yeah, I mean,
Thanks
great books.
for calling me out, Richard. Thanks for holding
Oh,
me accountable.
you're welcome. I take that off my to-do list for today.
Well, now that Richard's done putting me in my feckin' place, I think that's it for this week.
I do believe so. So you know what we'll do next week, right? We'll catch them next week.